Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna discuss the demand in economics IB standard level. Let's start briefly introducing the demand. The demand refers to the willingness and ability of a consumer to buy a good or service at different prices within a certain period of time. Willingness to buy, it's when a consumer wants to buy something, and ability to buy, it's when the consumer can afford the product. If either willingness or ability is missing, there is no demand. Let's now discuss what is the law of demand. The law of demand states that when the price of a good increases, the quantity demanded decreases. So when the price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. And in this case, we have ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means all other things being equal, so in this case we have the price. Ceteris paribus means holding all else constant or other things being equal. Economists use it to isolate the relationship between price and quantity demanded. Without ceteris paribus, many other factors like income, taste, weather, advertising could confuse the relationship. So, being short, the law of demand is higher prices, lower quantity demanded, and vice versa. Ceteris paribus, we assume nothing else changes except the price. Let's now practically look how the demand curve works. In the demand curve, on the y-axis we have the price, and on the x-axis we have the quantity demanded. So basically, how much people did buy it. We mark y-axis with P, which means price, and x-axis with Q, which means quantity demanded. And obviously the curve in our diagram that represents the demand, it's marked with D. Let's now look at this simple exercise that will make you understand how the demand curve works. We are the seller and we say a swimwear for boys and girls at the price of $10. At the given time period, 500 units of boys swimwear were bought, and 400 units of girls swimwear were bought at the price of $10. So our third diagram will represent the total of units that were sold in a given amount of time at a price of $10. So at the given amount of time, we have sold at the price of $10 900 units of boys and girls swimwear. And we always show in our diagrams the exact quantity and the exact price. Now let's talk about the three key assumptions of the law of demand. The income effect describes how a change in a person's life income, so in a purchasing power, affects the quantity of a good and service they chose to buy. What causes the income effect? When the price of a good changes, it affects how much you can buy with your income, even if your actual money income stays the same. So if the price of a good falls, your income effectively goes further. You feel richer, so you may buy more of that good and possibly more of other goods too. If the price of good rises, your income buy less. You feel poorer, so you may buy less of that good and possibly less of other goods. The second key assumption of the three is the substitution effect. The substitution effect says when the price of a good rises, consumers switch to a cheaper alternatives. So when the price falls, consumers switch toward the cheaper good. So this change in buying behavior, switching between similar goods, is the substitution effect. Diminishing marginal utility is another key reason why the demand curve slopes downward. What is the diminishing marginal utility? Utility is the satisfaction or happiness you get from consuming a good. The marginal utility is the extra satisfaction from consuming one or more units of the good. The more of a good you consume, the less additional satisfaction you get from each extra unit. What is a movement along the demand curve? A movement along the demand curve is a change in the quantity demanded caused by a change in the price of the same good. So in this case, if the price is the only factor that changes, so ceteris paribus, there will be a change in the quantity demanded. This change is shown by a movement along the demand curve. Imagine we have an increase in price from $10 to $15. This leads to a movement up the demand curve from point A to point B. Due to the increase of the price, less people want to buy the product, so the quantity demanded has fallen from 10 to 7 units. And this movement is called contraction of the quantity demanded. A decrease in the price from $10 to $5 leads to a movement down to the demand curve from point A to point C. More people are willing and able to buy this product, so the quantity increases from 10 to 15 units both. And this movement is called extension in the quantity demanded. Let's now understand how the shifts of the demand curve works. The factors that cause the shift are change in real income, change in taste and preference, change in the price of related goods, change in the number of consumers, and the future price expectations. The change of each of the non-price determinants shift the entire demand curve. For example, advertisement increases and there is an increase of demand, so more consumers become aware of the product. So we have a shift to the right, which means more consumers, more quantity demanded at a given price in a given time period. The shift to the left shows the exact opposite. So if we have one of these 5 non-price determinants that decreases the quantity demanded, our curve will shift to the left. Less quantity demanded at a given price in a given time period. Let's look closer at these non-price determinants. The first non-price determinant is the change in the real income. The real income determines how many goods or service can be enjoyed by consumers, and there is a direct relationship between income and demand for good and service. Changes in taste and preference. If a good or service become more preferable, then the demand for them increases, and there is a direct relationship. Advertising or branding can change tastes and preferences. Change in the price of substitute goods that are related goods. Change in the price of substitute goods will influence the demand for a product or service. Changes in the price of complementary goods. Changes in the price of complementary goods will influence the demand for a product or a service. Changes in the number of consumers. If the population size of a country changes over time, then the demand for goods or service will also change. Future price expectations. If consumer expects the price of a good or service to increase in the future, they will purchase it now and demand will increase. If consumer expect the price of a good or service to decrease in the future, they will wait to purchase it later and the demand will decrease. Thank you for watching and follow my channel to see more helpful videos for IB Economic Standard.